Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Dead Money with Dan Arfin. We have another honorary guest today, number 4 in the long-standing history of this podcast. Bruce Bishop is joining us in the studio today. And a really badass name, by the way. That sounds like a superhero action figure I used to play with. Bruce Bishop. Is that your real name? He's nodding his head yes. Okay. I believe him. Now, Bruce is a dealer, a poker dealer, that is, and I'm very thrilled to have him because when you consider these two things, that one, I started this podcast from needing to therapeutically vomit out all of the daily incurred aggravation that comes with putting up with all the bimbos who decided to play poker that day, and two, that I also have dealt poker before, granted only about 6 months worth, spaced out across 3 temporary gigs, but when you consider both of those things, Bruce and I should have no problem with talking about more than just a few things. Now, just to give you a little background about Bruce, he comes from the Midwest. I think he told me Kansas City, Missouri. We're about the same age. He's only a couple years behind me. And like many poker dealers, Bruce also has a playing background. He began playing when he was 15, which made me 17. I didn't start playing until I was 18, so that means Bruce was playing before Chris Moneymaker changed the world. Bruce was big into playing online, but Black Friday, April 15th, 2011, of course, threw a very large wrench into that, and that's when he decided to go another way. He started dealing poker and then supervising tournaments, still out in the Midwest, and then he arrived Las Vegas just about 3 years ago to work the World Series of Poker. Now, I don't see him all the time, but he's dealt to me before, and he still deals on the strip. Now, off the top of my head, I don't know if I've ever done anything that ever really got on Bruce's nerves. I'm going to guess the answer to that question is no, but I really hope that the answer is yes. If I haven't, it's okay, but I am very much hoping he has at least one story where he wanted to, really just tear my fucking head off. But like I said, I'd be surprised because I don't feel this way about too many dealers, and certainly not after getting a little experience on the other side of the table myself, but Bruce is a good dealer. He's fast, he's accurate, he pays attention, he's professional, he's courteous without being obnoxiously over the top about it so that he gets more tips. I fucking hate it when dealers do that. He doesn't speak until he has to, and when he does, he just says everything that needs to be said, no more, no less. So altogether, it's very clear that he cares about what he's doing. The way Bruce deals is identical to what I had in mind when I dealt poker. I wanted to go unnoticed and just do the job correctly. Now, the fact that he and I have a significant playing background is going to be very helpful to that because as players, when now you're dealing, you already know what players want to see and hear in certain situations, and you also know what they don't want to see or hear. And because of my interest in poker, I always empathize with what the players are going through, and, I cared about them. And it's clear that Bruce does too. And while it's great that he does, it's also imperative that he does, because, like me, Bruce is just a fucking white guy. And when you're a white guy dealing poker to 95% men, and you're not fully on the ball with everything you're doing, it's not going to be a good day for you, because what could be more advantageous to day-to-day living than being a white guy? Nobody has the world spinning in their hand more than a white guy does, okay? And because of that, nobody is going to give a shit about you. Not in the world of poker. Because this is a girl's job, okay? I mean, in terms of making the most money, that is. If I ever deal poker again, I'm going to be doing some serious trans operations, because if you have tits, you already got like a 30% raise at least just from that. So it'll all just pay for itself. But as a white guy, forget about it. You ain't making shit unless you're crushing the job on point all day long. So I'll say to him right now, Bruce, I'm sorry if I haven't tipped you that much, but I'll just say again, nobody gave a shit about my white ass when I dealt, and I'll admit, I've not made much of an effort to make any reformations to that for other white male dealers since I gave it up. Last time I dealt was about 6 years ago. But all right. I think that's enough of all that. So here he is. This is Bruce Bishop, everybody. Welcome to the show, and tell us, what's on your mind today?
First off, I love that intro. The part you talked about where I'm just a white guy and I'm disadvantaged because most women are in this job making the most money. That is very true. My very first summer I was out here in the WSOP. They go by alphabetical order of who you follow in the strings. And the girl in front of me was this beautiful blonde girl. She was probably a stripper, honestly. But she also dealt poker during the day. And so every one of our cash tables all day long, and the first time I was ever out here, I'd follow her and I'd push her. Every guy at the table would be like, oh, see you later. I'm pretty sure her name started with an E. It was like Elsie or something. They would all throw red chips or throw dollar chips, and then they would see me. And then I'd sit down and they'd be like, hey, Bruce. And of course, nobody is throwing me any money whatsoever, but they just showered her just because she just left the table.
Yeah, that's what I remember being told by one of the more experienced dealers. I think in my second summer, she was just telling me that who you're pushing just has a huge impact on how much money you make. I mean, dealers, I think some dealers don't realize that poker players have variance, and so do dealers. And if you're trailing a hot woman, I mean, that could not be the worst person to have in front of you, especially if she's a good dealer. But you want to be trailing some ugly man who sucks, and you're like this major upgrade.
Right. And that's the only thing I got going for me is that I'm fast. I'm fast, and I don't talk much, and that's why people mostly tip me.
Yeah, when I dealt, I was kind of like a car getting started. Like, I feel like I'd be not really slow my first 10 or 15 minutes, but within like 30 minutes, then I'd be moving really fast. How is it for you? When you sit down, do you just start dealing like it's nothing, or do you got to warm up a little bit?
Oh, for me, no, there's no warm up anymore. I usually take like a shot of energy drink or I drink a bunch of coffee before I deal. And so by the time I sit down at my first table and I'm on the first hand, I'm ready to fire out. I'm just immediately, there's no warm up for me.
Yeah, I've never had coffee even one time throughout my entire existence.
Well, that's why I didn't last long for it.
Yeah. Have you ever failed an audition?
No, but I wouldn't say I failed an audition, but the audition I did for WSOP, I thought there'd be a lot more to it. And I came out here, like, had all these preparations done. I knew all the answers, like every one of the games imaginable. And I sat down, and they said, put a flop out. Hold them. I dealt every 2 cards, put the flop out, and I just put the flop across the board. And the guy looked at me and said, "You're hired." And that was it. That was my audition for WSOP.
Yeah, I failed my first 4 auditions. It was excruciating. I had so many nerves going into each one, including the one I passed. And I think the first 1 or 2 auditions, I probably wasn't ready yet, but the next 2, I don't know, my hands are shaking, and I just could not function. And I mean, I always thought, like, why do we only get to deal like 1 or 2 hands? Like, don't we get a little more time to settle into this? But I guess they can tell, just like an actor auditioning.
What'd you do wrong?
Doing some monologue. I'm trying to run. I don't even fucking remember. I think I just wasn't that smooth, or I mean, maybe I made some little. I'm not even sure. I think when I dealt the World Series audition, most of these auditions were only 1 hour, but the World Series audition was 4 fucking hours, and it wasn't any bigger than the other auditions I'd been to. There was only like 8 or 9 dealers. It took them 4 fucking hours to get through a flop game, a stud game, and a draw game, and you needed to get an 80%, and I got an 80.5 when I dealt at the World Series of Poker. And I don't know. I mean, maybe that was. I got the sense she was kind of a sexist person doing the audition. She took a half a point away from me because I gave the deck a little butt tap, what they call a butt tap, before you start dealing. Like when you've done the cut, you've picked up the cards, you just square the little deck at the end. I gave a little. She didn't like that.
You're supposed to do that, I think.
Well, not according to this person.
Oh, she just didn't like you.
I don't know. She took a half a point away, so I didn't fail because of that. But that was just one of the things that I had to overcome in order to finally deal. I think I had passed an audition at Planet Hollywood first, but I never ended up dealing there. So I think I got the monkey off my back at Planet Hollywood, and then was just working at the series in 2018.
Oh, it's different now for the series. They need so many dealers for the series every summer that they're pretty much putting everybody through now. That's my opinion from what I've seen. If you come to Las Vegas and you've applied and you have any sort of experience whatsoever, or you can convince them that you have experience, they're going to hire you up. Because they need roughly, I think, 2,500, I believe, something like that, every summer.
But at least at my audition, they were like trying so hard to intimidate. Like you have to know all these rules. Like, nobody's going to know these fucking rules. Half your dealers don't even speak fucking English. Right. I mean, and that's not even a fucking be racist or anything. This is just a fact, okay? They understand English because you're screaming it in their faces half the time. The fucking dealer coordinators don't know how to fucking show anyone even the slightest bit of respect. It's just a freaking
You're just the number to them. Nobody knows your name.
It's like a throwback to like working 300 years ago. I mean, but yeah, the English is not their first language for a lot of them, and I don't get the sense that they know all the rules.
No, absolutely not.
But they made it sound like on this audition that like we absolutely had to, and it's like, dude, you're going to be hiring people 3 weeks into this event, and if they can, as long as they can spell poker, they're going to get a job. So like, what are you getting all high and mighty to us?
They can spell poker.
Yeah.
I have some really good friends that deal the final tables and stuff on TV at WSOP. They are very good dealers. I'm obviously being sarcastic when I say that, but those day one events of those massive fields like the Colossus and the Gladiator, whatever they want to call them, those dealers, there are a good chunk of them that probably don't even know what they're doing. You know, they think it's blackjack. I don't know. But like, I remember one time I clocked in one day, and I think it was for like maybe the Colossus event, and there was a girl behind me I'd never seen before. And like I said, typically I know the people around me at the same start times. This new girl, and she doesn't speak very good English. She taps me on the shoulder and she says, "How do I clock in?" I'm standing and I'm like, "All right." So I turn around and take her badge and I clock her in for her. Like, nobody even showed her how to clock in to get paid. And she goes, "I'm so nervous." And I clock in. I'm like, "Oh yeah." And I'm like trying to walk with her, and I realize she doesn't know where she's going. And I said, "Why are you nervous for?" And she says, "Well, I've never dealt poker." And I remember looking at her. I'm like, "You've never dealt poker?" And she had a table number written down. And she said, "Where's this table?" And I pointed her out. Like, it was back in like the Rio. Pointed out where she needed to go. And she just bebopped through the crowds of players to go probably mess up a bunch of hands for somebody. But
yeah, there's so many jobs where they hire you where they don't tell the dealers anything. Like,
nothing.
You're just like some fucking slave who wandered in there. I mean, there's so few dealers who can deal full time at the same place. So they're just seeing new faces all the time. It's like you ask where table 25 is, and they're just like, "Go look for it." And it's like, "Oh,
you tell me."
Okay, nice talking to you. So hold on. So whether you meant to piss off another player or not, do you remember any occasions where you got a player very, very angry at you? Like what is the most pissed off a player ever got at you, whether you deserved it or not?
I mean, one time I caught it at WSOP. He was trying to palm chips. He went all in. It was an all-in situation. And I don't know, to this day, I don't know how I caught this, but it was an all-in situation. He lost, and he had a big mountain of chips. On the very top of his stack, he had all black. And he was covered. And so he was pushing all the chips to the middle so I could slide it over to the other guy. And he pushed it really weird. One hand was on the base, and one hand was on the top like that. And he pushed it forward. And I shouldn't have done it because it's definitely not allowed, but I instantly grabbed his hand like that and just smacked it and held it. And I flopped it over for everyone to see. And he had 3 black chips in there.
No
and the
way.
whole table just, I was like, thank God he did, because imagine, like looking back, I'm like, what if he didn't do what I thought he did, you know? And I just grabbed this guy's hand and tried, how bad would that have looked? But thankfully, my reaction, my impulse was right on that one. And I flipped it over. He, like, fire in his eyes toward me, like, because I caught him cheating, you know? I'm like, dude, you're the one cheating here.
Stealing.
And then I remember I yelled Floor real quick, and he yanks his hand back, and he just sprints. He's gone. By the time Floor gets over there and they ask us what happened, like, he's probably, you know, across the city.
Was this in the Midwest?
This was out in WSOP.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. I mean, yeah, I guess that is a very peculiar way to pass the chips over. It almost looks like rehearsed, where he has his hands positioned a very specific way. It's almost like you can just tell he's thinking something.
Something's up, yeah.
Now, had his hand been empty, had he done some David Blaine shit and it's like in his mouth or something, and like your initials are written on it, I mean...
I reach up to his mouth and open his mouth for him.
Yeah, I mean, in that instance, I don't... If you were... Okay, so were you disciplined for doing that? Like,
no,
were you...
They said don't do it again. Like, it was that type of thing. But I was like, but I was right, you know? So, like, they couldn't really discipline
If you were wrong, it probably would have been worse. But I think that their response to that should be the same, whether you're correct or not. I mean, they should not be results-oriented, right? Right? I mean, it's like, that's a ballsy move to make. I mean, I'll give you credit for doing that. I don't know. It seems like something that I would do. I don't know if I would, though. I mean, I feel like if I noticed someone doing that, maybe I would do that, but I feel like I'd be too slow to even catch on to it.
But as a player, if you saw it, you'd want the dealer to hopefully say something or do something, because you don't want to be the one to have to say that.
I know. I've heard stories of people palming chips and things like that. So he just ran and nobody caught him?
Nobody caught him. No, nothing after that. I think the casino gave him like some comp for like what he lost. It was like 300 chips. They gave him like, I think 150 like to dinner or something on top of what he won. But no, the guy got away scot-free.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing.
There's been other times where I've been disciplined at the casino for things I think I didn't deserve for sure. And actually, I was hoping we'd bring this up, but the first time I was ever a supervisor, like at my first hour that I was a dual rate supervisor in a poker room, it was in St. Louis. It was at, I can't remember which casino it was. I've worked at all of them down there, but the very first hour was 2 a.m. And my supervisor that was training me left. He goes, "Oh, you're all good?" I'm like, "I got this. There's no problems." And he left. and by myself the first hour. And immediately we had 2 games going. It was 2-5 no limit. And the front table right in front of the podium, there was a guy in the 7th seat, and he was very well known. He was very chatty. He liked to get under people's skin and like piss people off, and that was like part of his game. And I'm not going to say his name, but he was doing that to this one guy across the table in the 3 seat. And every time the guy in the 3 seat would speak at the table, this guy would go, "Shh, you're at my table. This is the big boys' table." And he'd say, "Stop talking to my table." And so the guy put up with it for a while. I'm like watching, I'm like monitoring the situation, right? And I remember a drink lady comes by and she's like, "Cocktails," and he orders like a water. And the guy says, "Shh," because again puts his finger up to his face and says, "Stop talking at my table. This is the big boys' table. You need to go to the other table." And the guy is just turning beet red. And he's the type of guy that you don't want to be saying this stuff to, but the guy that's saying it doesn't realize that. And so I remember, I'm like, "Oh my God, how is this really happening my first like night?" And so I go over to the guy, I'm like, "Hey, can we not do this tonight?" Like I pulled him each aside and like tried to do it professionally. "Hey, let's calm it down a little bit. Let's have more fun." Like, that type of thing. Pulled each one of them aside. And I remember I go back to the podium, I'm sitting there with my arms crossed, and about half hour goes by and he keeps doing it. He didn't stop, of course. And one time he does it, he did, "Shh." And I see the guy stand up very slowly. He pulls his phone out, sets it down, pulls out his keys, sets it down, and pushes his chair in. And I'm like, this guy is going to go over and just beat the life out of this other guy. And sure enough, he did. He walked over casually, didn't say a word, stood next to him, right above him, looked down, and there was probably like a 2-second pause, and then he poof, right in his nose. And I don't know if you've ever seen like those used car salesmen, like the things that blow up outside, the little what are they called? The things like are all flimsy and stuff. The guy.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but
yeah,
the guy
I don't know what to call those things.
I don't know what those things are, but everyone knows what they are. The guy got hit.
It's just a visual.
He was sitting in a chair just like we are now, but the way he slid out of the chair, just like one of those things when they deflated. And he goes down the ground, the chair scoots away, nobody moves, nobody else. And so I'm like, "Oh shit." So I walk over, and this is what I got in trouble for. And the guy is standing above him, his feet are like above his head, and he's literally just hammer fisting on this guy's face. And blood going everywhere, and his head's bouncing off the wall. Again, this is my first 45 minutes into my first shift as a supervisor. And I run over, and I push the guy away. I'm like, "Hey, that up, push him away." I got in so much trouble for that, I thought I was going to get like fired and banned. Because you can't touch guests. That's one of the big things, at least there. Don't touch the guest. And I was like, "Well, what was I supposed to do? Just watch this guy get beat to death?"
What?
Yes.
Don't touch the guests under any circumstances.
No, under any circumstances.
What if they attack you?
Well, I suppose you can defend yourself, but I didn't have to go do that. They were like, "You should have called security and not got involved." It's the same way with like the 300 chips getting palmed. Technically, I shouldn't have touched the guy and I shouldn't have got involved. I should have called security and done that. That's like the protocol,
All right, if they want to like brief you on what the optimal course of action should have been afterwards, fine. But to like, where's the human side to all of this?
Right.
It's like there's a man being savagely beaten. Not every person thinks about, wait, what does my boss want me to do? That's not necessarily the first thing that comes to mind. You might want to step in and help this guy who's like moments away from getting brain damage for the rest of his life. I mean,
what's funniest about this story is when he woke up, he still was talking trash. And then we had obviously the casinos, there's undercover cops and stuff, and they came scurrying in there because I called security and everything. He started talking trash to one of the undercovers, thinking it was like one of the players at the table. He's a little loopy. He starts talking trash to this other guy, and then they arrest him. He's the one that got arrested. The guy that punched him and did all that to him, he was in the next morning at like 8 a.m. playing our game again. Yeah. Meanwhile, I came in the next day, I think it was like 4 or 5 p.m. to start my second shift. And they pulled me in the office and say, "We need to talk about what happened last night."
Have you noticed that it's a different social breed when you're dealing Hold'em players versus when you're dealing stud players or Omaha players? I mean,
my God, yes.
Personalities are different. Yeah, well, let me share a story about, and this isn't necessarily the most I've ever pissed off a player, but it's one of them, okay?
That is part of your game, right? To piss them off, like...
Yeah, it seems to be a theme, a steady theme of my existence, whether I'm trying to or not. I'm just really good at pissing people off.
I've been dealing with you for 3 years now. It does happen a lot. You've never pissed me off. I know that's part of your intro. You never pissed me off.
Yeah.
I see you doing that to lots of players.
Yeah, it's... Okay, so if you were a player, could you picture yourself getting irritated with me just by my existence?
I don't think I would. No, I wouldn't, because I'm so laid back. I find the way you are funny.
I'm pretty much love or hate for a lot of people.
I get your dark humor. To me, it's funny.
Yeah, right. Either you get it exactly or you don't get it at all and you can't stand me. Anyway, So I think it was my first summer, my first ever dealing gig, which was the 2018 World Series. And There was no friggin' push. I'm doing cash, and I'm doing Big O, which is,
Oh God.
out of all the games that I've gotten better at dealing, and I mean, I think I'm a pretty good dealer, but like Big O gives me trouble because it's a split pot game, it's a big butt game, they're running it twice. I don't know what the fuck anybody's got, okay?
Right.
And it's not even that big of a deal. The players do their own hand reading, okay? You're not gonna fuck up the money. You're not gonna push the pot the wrong way and no one's gonna notice, okay? But it took me a while. I don't know why it took me so long. I used to have trouble splitting pots, and it's easy. You just do the pick chips first. And one day it finally just clicked. I was like, oh, this is the easiest thing in the world. But that day hadn't come yet. And I was having some trouble splitting a pot. Probably happened once or twice. And whenever I'm doing these Omaha 8 games, I'm always praying for some high cards so that we don't have a fucking split
Every
pot and
dealer's
get a
same way.
scoop. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like a 6-way pot going to the flop. And look, the players are getting annoyed that it's taking me all this time. And I was just trying to have like a sense of humor about the situation.
Right.
Okay, so I'm dealing the 3 cards I'm about to do. I'm like, come on, picture cards. And then the guy, seat 1, turns to me. He's like, what? He's like, why are you saying that? It's like, because you don't want to split the pot? I was like, yeah. And he was like,
honest, yeah.
he was like, oh. He was like, you could tell he was kind of amused because like I didn't try to bullshit my way out of that. But then he gets up. He's talking to a floor man privately. I'm like, oh my God, am I about to lose my fucking job here? And the floor man never came over. I mean, he didn't say anything to me. He probably just told the players, like, all right, just relax. I'm sure he didn't mean anything. He just doesn't want to have to split the pot because it's taking him forever. And then I'm stuck with this guy for like another 45 minutes instead of 15 minutes. And he's just mumbling under his breath periodically, like, picture cards. Like, I just kept hearing it over and over and over again. I think finally I said to him, I was like, all right, I shouldn't have said that. Like, I didn't mean any harm. Like, what does he think? I'm genuinely rooting for another player. Like, I can't even split the pot. You think I can fix a fucking deck so that you and your little cards that I don't even know can't make a fucking low hand? Get out of here.
I think that's a lot of Omaha players, those split pot games, they expect you to know like what's on the board at all times. Like right when they flip the cards over, then we instantly know. Half the time when I'm dealing those games, I don't even know what's out on the board until the very absolute. Because I'm focused on like where's the action at, making sure it's going through, how many players are in. I'm stacking the chips properly. I always put in 20 stacks, But when they flip it over, they get mad if I don't immediately like know. But I have no idea what's out the brief, before that, And I think they assume that we know like, oh, the flush came in, or like they know, oh, the board pair. Most dealers aren't paying attention to that stuff,
Yeah, I mean, I did my best with the hand reading, but like the bottom line is they were all going to do it faster than I could ever do it. So it didn't even matter if I could do it.
That's why I like when they call out, like you were saying, when they call out the hands. Oh, it's a beautiful format, I hate it when you're in like a 7-way pot and they all just, nobody says a word and they all flip their cards up. You're like, oh, well, this is going to take me 5 minutes. Hang on a sec, guys. And nobody says a word.
Yeah, and in my second summer at the World Series at the Kings Lounge, where it's freaking baking under those lights the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Do you deal Omaha 8? Like, I'm legitimately getting a workout doing this. Like, I'm sweating. I'm like running. My head's all over the place. And then like you split this whole freaking $4,000 pot 17 different ways. Like one little dollar comes flying in at the end because that's your prize for being the white guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I do know what you mean with the Kings Lounge. I dealt one day, I think it was 3 summers ago out there. And it was all 7-card stud. And I got stuck in a whole string where we didn't have any breakers. And I remember one time I asked for a bathroom break and we had some random came in there and dealt a couple hands for me. And I ran all the way down to the EDR and I filled my my dealer pouch with Fruit Loops. Like I was so hungry. And that sun, those lights were just beaming on me. I'm sweating. I'm thirsty. I remember I chugged like a Gatorade or something. And I'm running through the halls like eating Fruit Loops. And I go to the table and like one of the players caught me eating Fruit Loops in between hands. And he did get mad at me. I guess that's an example of one of the times that I was in King's Lounge. But those lights are so brutal in that place.
Oh yeah, I meant to ask this before. So when you've gone on auditions, have you ever noticed any dealer who's like, whether it's subtle or not, they're trying to like sabotage another dealer by like intentionally doing something that's going to be confusing or can fuck them up or anything like that?
You asking me that question lets me know you've 100% been in auditions. Everyone on auditions, I think, has one of those guys in there,
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, I know they need bodies, but if I was running an audition and I was very certain a person was doing that, I would just kick them out right then and there in front of everybody. Right. Like I would do everything as I could to humiliate them. I mean, so fucking dirty. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
I remember one time I was hiring for a casino for dealers for some series we had, and I was helping out one of the tables, and I had a guy at one of the tables. He would constantly do like angle shooting, like we were having a fake game, and then the dealer was auditioning. It was really auditioning, but there was one guy that would just constantly like do angle shooting stuff, just to like throw the dealer off to make him look bad in front of me, and just like what you're talking about. I don't know what causes people to do that.
Well, I guess it's a hard life we're living in, and it's a hard world. And sometimes people they don't know what to do. Life is just too much for some people. I mean, you see what it does to people when they're playing poker.
Oh yeah.
You know, you see the things, the little shit fits they throw, and just what whiny babies they're being, and just how entitled they are. So yeah, I mean, if you're in Vegas and degenerate gamblers are a dime a dozen here, and you're just looking for a job, I mean, and they're desperate, or they owe fucking child support, or I don't know what. I mean, or some people, they just want to get over on you. They don't even care what it is. They're just addicted to some kind of rush of just getting some kind of little scam past somebody.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Whether it could be for 50 cents. I mean, it doesn't fucking matter as long as they got over on you. So
the old child support thing, I actually have a story about that.
Yeah, let's talk child support.
I was supervised one time, and I had a guy, they hit some, I think we had a promotion going where if the dealer put out a flop of like trips, it would pay out. Each one had progressive jackpots, and we put out one of the big ones. And if you were dealt in the hand, you got part of it. And this guy won so much money that we had to like tax it. And I remember I was like, I walked to the table, like verified, I was like, congratulations, and there's like 3 guys. And I come back over with the paperwork, and I go, here you go. And he goes to sign. He jumps out of his chair so fast, his chair's spinning, because he owed child support and had warrants. And he realized if he signed it, we were scanning his ID because I went to ask for his ID. And so he just bolted out of the casino.
Yeah, Doyle Brunson used to talk about how back in the day when he was on the road in Texas with all his boys, and they're playing in those backroom games, and they're just hoping to get out of those games alive.
Yeah.
Like, never mind with the money. Okay. He would talk about how poker players were seen as these second-class citizens, almost like subnormal. And you know something? It hasn't really changed. I mean, it's organized, it's safe, it's a lot of things that it no longer was, but the grades of people who show up to these things, how much different is it really? I mean, because poker is an every man's game. I mean, you're gonna have some sick, ruthless gangster going at it with some grandmother. I mean, and
so
and
true.
there's nothing either one of them is gonna, and neither one's gonna say anything to the other. Like, they're just gonna battle it out, and if he loses, he's just gonna sit there and take it. He can't do anything about it because this is poker and there's rules. And we're not shooting at each other anymore, but
it's sanctioned now.
but still, it hasn't changed a single thing about who shows up to these things or who's paying child support. And it's just funny being a professional player for all these years in the live setting, because it's like, to be a live winning player, obviously you got to have more than just a few loose screws in your head that will never be found, but you also need some very functional and sensible sides to your personality as well, because there's so much losing you have to overcome. That's, you got to be somewhat stable. You have to have stable foundations within you, even if you have enough instability to not care about bluffing your whole stack off and then just acting like nothing happened. I mean, you go fucking crazy trying to put up with these people, because it's like, it's what I envision of like being a social worker, except you're trying to take advantage of the people. You're not trying to help them. It's like a social worker. They got all these fucked up problems, but the social worker's trying to help them. Players, dealers, you're trying to just get all the money you can from them. Oh, God. All right, so something I wanted to ask you was, so when you're dealing, whether it's cash tournaments, I mean, how often do you feel like there could be any cheating or collusion going on between other players, and do you feel like you should ever get involved with that, or do you just wait for someone to say something?
I never get involved with it, but I think that mostly happens with, like, it's more obvious with couples. Like, you probably know there's a lot of specific couples that come in every day, and I've noticed couples, if I think that they might be colluding in some way, they'll set opposites at the table. And one, like, I'm not going to name any names, but like, there's a specific couple that comes to mind. They come in to play cash games, and I noticed that the woman, she doesn't really play any hands. She's just there to social and talk, and she's very chatty with everybody. Everybody loves her, shot, that type of thing, gets everybody going. He doesn't talk. He's very serious, and he buys in much bigger. And I've noticed that a lot of times when he does have good hands, he'll open, and if they're trying to trap people in between, and then when it gets to her, she'll pop it just a little bit, and then if it gets him on the other side of the table, then he'll really repop it. Like it's like there's some sort of a message going across to saying that reopen the action type thing that to trap players. I see that every once in a while, but not to a big degree to where I would like go to like gaming or go to my supervisor, like because it's just it happens mostly. I don't want to name the casino, but it's a casino where it's very recreational.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know if I should even say that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that part out that I'm thinking about, I'm like, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, I guess I'm probably pretty oblivious to all these things. For all the years I've been playing, I have to figure there's got to be some times where either I was cheated, or people were trying to cheat, and I just had no idea about it. I mean, the only time that I can recall an instance where two people were like not really even playing together. It was just this man and woman, like older couple, like probably in their 60s at least. And the game was getting short. And the woman was fairly loose player, a bit sticky. The guy was a lot nittier than she was. When the game started getting short, I just...
Poker lingo cracks me up.
Yeah. No, I know. It's a whole other language, especially when I'm like talking to somebody new, like a man or
the way
woman.
You just described that woman sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Loose, sticky.
Right. Right. It just rolls right off your tongue. But when you talk about poker, it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, right. No, it's true. If you zoom out a little bit, it might sound a little different.
It does, yeah.
So, like, if I would, like, 3-bet or raise or something, if he would call, then she would call.
Mm-hmm.
Like, after a while, I just started noticing that, like, it just seemed very rhythmic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, he's calling, I'm calling. And after a little while, it's just like, what are they thinking? Like, it's just 2 against 1? So, like, one of them's going to, out of the 3 people, they're more likely to win because they're playing against me. After a while, I said to him, I was like, do you think I don't know what you're doing? Like, and that was just as far as it got. And it didn't even matter. They were both fish anyway. And it's like, cheating is not easy.
No.
Just because you're trying to do it doesn't mean you're succeeding, and it doesn't mean you're picking the best times to do it, and it doesn't even, you might even be better off not cheating if you're that bad at it, which is what it seems like for these people. It seems like they might have the better shot if they just play without thinking about, hey, what are we going to do to get him? Because you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing. You don't know any more about how to cheat than you do how to play. So you might as well just play, because at least then you're not breaking any rules.
The difference, though, in house games, I feel I have been cheated before. Have you ever been cheated in a house game before?
I don't think so, but I can't say that with definitive certainty, but I don't think so.
Really? Okay.
I mean, I lost my motherfucking ass one night. I mean, but it wasn't like just some crazy cooler. I mean, it was just a bunch of big pots I lost, and a lot of them came in spots that were kind of marginal, and I didn't even necessarily have to put a lot of money in. So it's like, that makes me think I wasn't cheated. But, when you lose your ass in a home game, it's a little hard to walk out of there feeling completely comfortable about it.
Yeah.
So wait, you got cheated in a home game?
I have, yeah. When I was younger, I was in Iowa going to college, and my roommate and I went to this. He knew about this game in a town that's about 30 minutes away, and we drive to it, and it's this Italian restaurant. And we go in there, and we're playing 2-5, and I brought, I think, 2,000 with me, and we're buying in for 500 each. And I buy in, they put all the money in the stove, which I thought was interesting. They put all the money, like, rounded up in a box, and they put it in the back of the stove. Yeah. Their plan was, they said, should cops get called over, there's some light on fire. I was like, oh, okay. And then we're just playing with chips, and there's no actual money. That was their thought process. And so the money's back in the stove.
All right.
Which I always thought was weird, because there was a couple times we were cashed out and it would be short. I'm like, are they skimming? Like, that type of stuff. But anyway, it was a game where we passed the deck around. And there was one specific hand where the kid that owned the restaurant was kind of standing behind the dealer, and I knew they were close friends. And he's dealing, and this is where I'm pretty sure there was something going on, but I get dealt pocket aces. And the guy dealing is in the hand too. He's dealing himself a hand. And him and I get all in, and I think it was aces versus kings the first time. I'm like, oh, I got him. King, he spikes me. 500 rebuy. The host comes over.
Yeah, that sounds like a setup.
Very next hand, he doesn't. What I thought was, he didn't move the deck. He dealt another hand, and I got dealt again, different deck, aces again. I'm like, no way, nobody's gonna believe me. I have aces twice. Same guy. We both get it all in, and he has something like queen jack the second time. It was something really weird, And I'm like, why would he call me all like? It was like raise, that type of thing. We get it all in. Same guy, and they both were like looking at each other and like smirking. And then the next, this is the crazy part though. The next person to deal is my buddy that brought me there. His name's Franklin. Franklin deals. And Franklin, I know, didn't cheat me. He's just an idiot. He's just drunk. I swear to God, on my son's life, he dealt me pocket aces. It was the only time I've never seen it at a table since. And I've never had it since, but I got back to back to back aces. And Franklin and I were the only two that get it in. I had aces, and my buddy Franklin had twos, and he spiked a two on me.
Oh boy.
I was just like, start the car, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. We leave, and then but a couple of years later, he said, "Hey, do you remember the Italian game with the money in the stove?" I'm like, "Yeah, I remember. That was really. I got smashed the one time he took me there." He's like, "Yeah, there was a lot of. Apparently, they were cheating." He's like, "Can you believe it?" I'm like, I instantly thought back to that. I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I do. I'm pretty sure they cheated me out $1,000."
Yeah, I know a friend, he played at a home game once. He came back from the bathroom, and his first hand was aces, and then he lost a big pot. I mean, you almost wonder, should you suspect something? I mean, I guess, well, look, if he was going to suspect anything, he wouldn't go to the game in the first place. You figure whoever got him into the game is someone he's well acquainted with, and he just figures this is like any other straight game he's played in. But I guess once it's all said and done, it's like, I did just come back from the bathroom.
Right.
And I was instantly dealt the one hand everyone's hoping to get. And what a surprise that I lost. I mean,
I played.
How old were you in that time?
I was in college at the time.
See, perfect. I mean, at that age, you're sitting duck for those games.
I couldn't play in casinos because I don't think I was of age yet. And so we played a lot of home, especially in Iowa. It's just, I don't know if you've ever been to Iowa. It's just mostly cornfields. Like there's nothing out there.
No, I know. I mean, when you want to play a home game, you need like a whole clipboard for a checklist of things that have to be perfect, or you're not playing.
Or you don't go back.
Yeah.
And I've been to plenty of those house games where I'm like, I will never go back. Like but again, Franklin and I we were close friends and like poker buddies. He was my roommate when I was in college, and we did a lot of like poker, I don't know, adventures together. But he also took me to this other one in Iowa again, like Central Iowa, like right above Des Moines. And I remember it was the one time I ever felt uncomfortable at a home game. I was like, we need to go now. And I was sitting next to this guy. I was in the 6 seat. He was in the 5 seat. And it was probably a Monday night or a Sunday night because football was on. And we'd been all playing for a couple of hours, and the game ends. And he goes, "Hey, can I change the channel?" And the guy that owned the house was like, yeah, whatever, put it on. He walks up to the TV, and he puts on porn. Like, what? Like,
What?
Yes. And it's all guys. He doesn't tell us he's doing this, and it's not just like normal. It's graphic, and he comes back and he sits next to me, and I'm looking at the TV, and I'm looking over Franklin like, and my buddy Franklin's drunk. I don't think he knows what's really going on. I'm like, this is really weird, dude. What are we like? And I remember folding hands and like looking over at the guy next to me because I was creeped out because he was sitting next to me, and when he would fold, he would just sit there and stare blankly at the TV.
How do you adjust to a guy who's playing while he's watching pornography?
Exactly.
Do you think he's going to get more? He could get more aggressive.
No, in this case he wasn't.
or he could be the opposite effect. Yeah, he could just be total. He could be a total nit and just.
He was folding everything. I remember just staring at him, just like an absolute
play the nuts,
bewilderment.
that whole thing.
Yeah. I remember one time. This is what made me leave. Is because I remember looking at him like, this guy's so weird. I'm thinking in my head, like staring at him, and he just like cold looks over, just real quick, just jokes at me, and he sees me looking at him, and I'm like, oh, I kind of freeze up, and I said, hey. And he goes, hey. And he goes, they never put enough dick in these, do they? And he nods to the TV.
Well, I remember hearing a story some years ago that someone at the World Series of Poker, where else? I mean, nothing brings out the worst in people like the World Series of Poker does. But yeah, some guy was in a cash game, and he was watching porno on his iPad or something. So it wasn't for everybody. It was unique.
It was
to
just for him. Yeah.
But it was, it was like visible enough for anybody walking by.
It might have been the guy from my home game in Iowa. That might have been him.
I mean, how many people are doing this, right? I mean,
obviously at least two that we know.
Yeah, I mean, it's either the same guy or maybe they're brothers or who knows what. I mean, either way.
Would you say something if you saw the table? Hey,
if I saw a player watching pornography at the table
right next to you,
I would say something. I mean, I would take my time and like really like salivate over this opportunity I'm getting.
At my age, I couldn't come up with to say. I didn't know what to say. I was just weirded out. I wanted to leave the situation, especially when you told me that. But if you were in that same situation, what would you? You're at a home game, middle of nowhere, don't know anybody, and that's going on. What do you say to that spot?
I would probably make some dry remark about like, oh, this is an interesting program. And I was like, I haven't seen this episode. Say something along the lines of that's like clearly putting attention on what we're watching, but acting like it's a little different than what it is.
Yeah.
Just sort of like get the elephant in the room shined on. I mean, when I watched, at different times in life, we'll say I watched pornography more frequently than I do now.
Yeah.
Okay. And I couldn't imagine doing that or even thinking about that
In public.
in public, and least of all while I'm trying to play cards. I mean, it's like, I know some people care about winning less than others do, but like, what? Some people have a twisted sense of humor. They're just to do anything to get people uncomfortable. Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe that was his whole. Which it worked. It worked. Like, I was so uncomfortable. Like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure the guy at the series, I don't know if he got kicked out or what it did. I mean, it didn't just go on.
They put a stop to it.
Yeah, somebody said something and something was done about it.
Watch that somewhere
It
else.
wasn't just like, all right, he's just the guy watching porno
Go
at
to
the
the
game, no
blackjack
big
pits if
deal.
you're gonna
Yeah,
watch
right.
that.
I mean, I've heard the stories of people whipping their dick out and peeing on the dealer.
Oh.
I heard about that
I was
other
there
player.
for that. The year that happened, where the guy pulled his pants down and threw the shoe at the dealer.
Yeah.
I saw that happen live.
Oh my god!
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Then I heard another story. Someone busted out of a tournament, went to Luxor and started like streaking on a craps table or did something
laying on the
fucked
table
up like
just
that.
doing a snow angel in the middle of all the chips.
Who are these? I mean, you talk about hitting rock bottom, right? I mean, you hope that that's their rock bottom.
Oh god, yeah. You hope. Yeah.
God, that's what poker does to people.
But people who don't play poker don't know like how common these people are. You might be sitting right next to them at a table in the poker room. You never know.
No, I know. I've never been to jail, so like I forget about how like. Well, no, sorry. I have been to jail. I've never been to prison. Excuse me.
Okay.
I've never been to prison. I've definitely been to jail.
Yeah.
But like,
What'd you do?
it was a bullshit charge. We were searched illegally.
Isn't it always?
No, it really was a bullshit charge. It was an illegal search. We were right near the Mexican border. We were doing 85 miles an hour in an 80-mile-an-hour zone. My friend had New York plates. They thought we were like running guns or something ridiculous down there. They bring their fucking canine through, so they find a little fucking quarter ounce of weed on us. Okay, this is the highlight of your guy's day. Good for you. So yeah, I spent a night in jail because of that, wearing a Hamburglar jumpsuit.
Did they take you to Mexico side, or did you just stay in America?
No, we stayed in America, thankfully.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I walk in there, I see this guy wearing a Hamburglar jumpsuit. I was like, hey, look at that fucking
You think
idiot.
it's bad to be a white dealer in America? What about being a white guy in a Mexican jail?
And then a half hour later, I'm wearing this Hamburglar jumpsuit. And yeah, boy, if we were in a Mexican jail, I mean...
We probably wouldn't have this conversation right now.
No, I mean, could they have taken us there?
I mean, if you're right at the border, why not, right?
I don't know.
I think you're supposed to bribe them. This is so off topic of poker, but I think if
I had money to bribe them.
Did
I mean,
you?
poker players always carry unnecessary amounts of cash with them. They just
in
you
case
never
they
know
end up down by the
factor.
border at night.
Yeah, just in case you're trying to not go to Mexico. Sure.
Were you trying to get into Mexico?
No. We were just we were driving to Vegas. We were just following the GPS, and we were about 100 miles from El Paso, and we were just near this Mexican border where apparently a lot of famous people have been pinched. I think Snoop Dogg went to this jail. I think Fiona Apple went to this jail. Yeah, I mean, it was like a sort of like a checkpoint by the time we got out of there.
Oh, you put that on your resume, huh?
Yeah. So yeah, I've never been to prison, but I forget sometimes how I'm playing with people who have done real time in prison, and now they're out, and now they're just another ordinary citizen again.
Sitting right next to Jordan or Julius. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And you just have no idea. You just have no idea who you're playing with. So I just try not to get too heavily into things with other players because you just never know who's gonna just crack one day. I mean, this is America. They'll shoot you here.
I think you should though. Like you as a regular 2-5 player, or a 5-10 player, or whatever. I think you should be talking to lots of people around you because you can get a lot of information from them that you don't get by just sitting there.
Well, that's true. I mean, when you're dealing and watching the game. I mean, when I dealt poker, I had no problem paying attention because I enjoy poker, so I'm interested in seeing what happens throughout the hand and what hands get turned over, and sometimes that I'm shocked to see certain bluffs or anything. I mean, when you're playing, since you have a playing background, what's it like for you when you're watching everybody play and you're dealing?
Oh, well, I'm like, why is nobody talking? Like, especially live, If you're playing live, why would you not take advantage of the opportunity to talk to the people at the table with you? You can see them, find out, especially here in Vegas. I remember, what was it? It was a couple months back. I think I was dealing to you, and this is an example of it. But these two guys were talking at a table, and one of the guys asked him, "Hey, what are you doing here in town?" And the guy said, "Oh, I just wanted to always come here and play poker in Vegas. And he had like $2,500 in front of him. And the guy kept asking him question after question. And eventually said, I don't really have a lot of experience. I'm really nervous. And the guy just kept talking. But I remember you looked at me. You looked up when he said, I don't have a lot of experience, whatever he said. It cracked me up because you had no part of the conversation whatsoever. Hadn't even looked up at me. You just look up and go, it's that easy. Because I knew you had heard what he'd said. And that guy just had a huge target on his back. One, that he's not going to gamble or not that he's not, he'll definitely gamble, but he's not a threat to you. He's not going to make some advanced play against you. He's just some novice player that wants to say, I played high stakes poker out in Vegas when I was on my trip, But the guy got that information for you because he was asking questions. I think people at the table, like as a dealer, if the table's quiet, why isn't somebody talking or at least getting information out of somebody,
It's true. There is lots of information to be gained about how people play just by talking to them. It's true. You're not just watching their betting patterns. I mean, you're getting to know who they are, and you're gauging, is this the type of person who's going to run a big bluff or not? And most of the time, the answer is going to be no. And if the answer is no, then you get put in a really tough spot. It's like, all right, then you can just make the big fold, and you don't have to worry about it. But, yeah, I mean, I try not to be on my phone too much when I'm playing. I have a hard time. I would say at least half the time, probably more than half the time, that fucking thing is addicting. And like I got one question for the internet, then I got another question, and I got another question. And I think it's going to take 20 seconds. Next thing I know, it's been 20 minutes, and I haven't looked up and seen anything. And there's something I could have seen. That's true. I mean,
I think a lot of regular players miss stuff out here because they get too into their phone. Like when I'm dealing, sometimes I'll look around the table and there might be 7 guys looking down at the phone. And I'm like, there's 2 guys looking at me, and I'm dealing and everybody's missing so much, No,
I know. I always feel better when I'm not looking at the phone, but you get roped in like a drug. I mean, I remember
if I was to play again, like regularly, like full time, I wouldn't allow myself to bring my phone to my sessions.
Yeah, sometimes I think I just want to leave it in the car, and I can't even get tempted to look at it if it's not even with me, right?
Maybe even a couple times a week, just like, today's Monday, don't take my phone, something.
Yeah, I remember one of the times I played the main event. I think it was day 1. I mean, the phones have been an issue for a long time. I remember it was the main event, so I wasn't looking at my phone, okay? Like, if there's ever a poker event, if there's ever anything to take seriously, it should be the main event. And I just remember throughout this entire day, there was not one moment where nobody was on their phone and everybody was paying attention to the game. At any point in the day, there was always at least one person looking at their phone. It's incredible.
Yeah. I used to have a friend, he actually has he's very big on YouTube. It's called The Drawing Dead. That's his show on YouTube. When he started his podcast or his YouTube thing, I was dealing to him a lot. And I remember when he first started. And one of the things I really liked about him, one, he was really funny. But 2, when he'd come up to a table, if nobody was talking, he was very good at breaking the ice. Very good at it. And I remember one of the first times that had me rolling. He walked up to the table, nobody's talking. He sits down, he looks around, he kind of looks at me and nods. And I kind of go, I'm like, yeah, normal table, that type of thing. And he opens his phone, he throws it across the table. As I'm like shuffling up, he flings it. He runs right in the middle and he goes, all right. He's like, I got a game for us all. And everybody's like looking. He goes, how about we all unlock our phone? We'll we'll put the screens face down. Bruce is going to mix them up. And then we're going to play a game. We're going to look at the search history. And we're going to try to guess whose phone it is based on our search history. What do you guys say? And the whole table burst up laughing. And the whole rest of my down, everybody's talking. Everybody loosened up. People started straddling. And he got everybody going just by that one thing. That's what he was very, very good at.
Some of these fucking dealers, they don't pay attention, or they're paying so little attention. I'm surprised one of them hasn't pulled their phone out in the middle of a freaking hand. And I almost couldn't blame him during some of these hold'em tanks that go on, especially in the tournaments, especially during the World Series. Do you make a whole lot less money dealing cash during the World Series with how long some of these fucking tanks go on?
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
I mean, I want to cry.
Yes, yeah.
I wanted to cry. I had my longest hand ever take place over the summer. I'm not kidding. This hand was at least 12 minutes. This guy, I ranted about this on another show. This kid had 7 decisions to make throughout the hands, and 5 of them, he went into this epic fucking tank. And I wanted to call the clock on him for all 5, but I'm the one in the hand, so it's like I really should just keep my mouth shut.
You're getting mad at me for it. I wasn't even there.
Yeah, right. Just get mad at anybody who I repeat this story to.
You need a poker therapist. There needs to be a poker therapist.
Yeah,
for stuff like that.
I mean, I've been trying to handle it on my own. The listeners are my therapist, but they're not with me, so I don't know. I mean, okay, so out of all the times you've been tipped over the years, like what was like the most amusing / insulting, or what was like the most memorable tip you received because of how it was given to you, or if the player was like an asshole about it, or if they said something stupid, just anything.
Anything happens to it, man. Let me think on that. I mean, my biggest tip was actually for a hand that I didn't even deal. We were in the room and some guy that had never played poker before walks in drunk, I'll play poker, and he hits our bad beat jackpot, and it was really high at the time in this casino I was working in, and he won I think 68,000 maybe or something, and we had to keep telling him you won 68,000, and he was just so drunk, what, that type of thing. But when I came to his table after the hand was dealt, I said, hey, did you get the big end of the bad beat? And he's like, oh, dude, and I just said, high five, man. I gave him a high five, and he threw me a yellow chip. He's like, you're cool. That was the biggest tip I've ever gotten.
Yeah, the biggest tip I ever got was $100 when I was dealing.
That's a good tip, though.
Yeah, that was sick. I mean, I wasn't even soliciting or anything. I mean, I would never fucking solicit for a tip.
What are you doing under the table, right?
It was heads up. It was King's Lounge. It was heads up, 1025 Hold'em. It was a pro versus some whale, VIP, whatever.
Yeah.
And the pro got stacked. And then he just walked away.
Yeah.
And when I was doing the all-in, the whale just kept saying, every card that came out, he's like, that's me. And I just, made a little joke about it. I was like, so every card helped you? I was like, how many cards does this guy have? He was like, and he just throws me a black chip. I was like, whoa, thanks. I was like, Jesus, that's what I get for opening my mouth for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
But then, on the flip side, I was doing 5, 10, 25 PLO once at 4 in the morning, where people might be a little looser with their money.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big game on top of it. $2 for 30 fucking minutes. I mean, and I just when I left, I was like, thanks guys, and just walked away. And I was just thinking, what the fuck was that? I mean,
to me, that tells a lot about the table. That table is not a table I would ever want to play at. If people aren't even willing to tip $1 every once in a while, they're definitely not gambling,
Yeah, right. If they're not tipping, then they're probably not much action either.
No,
I guess that's true.
Even if you see guys stiffing cocktail waiters and stuff, I'm like, that guy just stiffed cocktail waitress and ordered 4 drinks. He's probably not shoving it in, loose in any way.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so. I mean,
Again, that's stuff that as a dealer, I pick up on. If some guy's constantly stiffing me and I'm pushing a pot after pot after pot, I'm like, well, obviously I think he's probably hitting hands here and he's just a tightwad,
Yeah, well, that's true too. I mean, a lot of them just, whether it's cultural or just what they're taught, I don't know. I mean, as you move up in the high stakes, you actually get less tips instead of more, which is something most people would assume it's this linear thing where you're going to get more tips as the games get bigger, but it's actually the opposite, because when you're dealing 1-3 or 1-2 to people who aren't used to having a lot of money in front of them all at once, oh my god, a $500 pot, here's $20. But if you go deal freaking 5-10 no cap, or well, I don't think there's a 5-10 no cap anymore, but if you do a no tap game and there's a 50,000 pot, $2 if you're lucky.
Yeah, so, I've built live streams and final tables and I built the final table at the World Series main event one. I did one down on it, and I was like, this is the highlight of being a dealer. You made it all that way. You're dealing, how much money did you make? How much money? You probably made a bunch, didn't you? I'm like, 0, nothing.
No,
nobody tipped me. No.
So if you're dealing a table that's not caring too much about you, does that alter how you deal? Because there's a lot of dealers who stop trying. They stop giving a shit.
I used to be like that. I used to be like, I grew up.
Okay. You grew up. Good for you. Good for you.
I used to do stuff if people were stiffing me a lot, I would, this is way back when I first started, my first year, I'm like, I'd get mad, And so I'd start changing out red chips. I would just fill the pots with dollars. There was one hand where I put $40 of ones out and just kept doing wave after wave of dollar, trying, and I would just stare at them, But of course I would never do that now. Now there's no way.
That's a good idea though, actually.
It is, but or I would do stuff point at the tip box, or I would just do obnoxiously slow. That is definitely a thing people do, but that's way in the past. I hate even admitting to it, but there are dealers now, and I'm sure you come across them, that if they get stiffed a couple times, they're going to slow down dramatically.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, even if the table's not tipping, they're going to tip a little, and the more hands you deal, the closer you get to their next tip. So it's I understand that it's frustrating, but this is just, it's one of the drawbacks to the job. I mean, every job's going to have its drawbacks.
It
is a good job.
It's a very good job. Very good job. I've learned too, I don't get mad about stuff like that anymore, because I know in the long run, I'm going to make up for it. This table might have stiffed me, but down this other table is going to over tip me so much. Sometimes I'll have it down where it's $2 and I'll go to the next table and I'll make $250 or something, it all evens out in the end. It's a very good job, And so now I would never risk my job. I always do the exact, service or whatever speed, But it is. I don't think a lot of people realize that too, how good of a job it is being a dealer out here.
No, I mean,
if you're a Vegas poker dealer,
especially you don't need any education. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I kind of want to do it, but it would only be for like a temporary thing again. I mean, every time I dealt, I knew it wasn't going to last for that long. If I was dealing indefinitely and I knew that wasn't going to change, I don't know how I'd feel about it then.
Yeah.
But when I was dealing, I liked it. I mean, it was like a fun little novelty, and I dealt to so many famous players in such a short period of time because I dealt the World Series of 2018, and then a few months later, I was dealing the Bellagio for a winter, and they didn't make any effort to like put their better dealers in Bobby's room. It's just
Really?
if you can deal at the Bellagio, then you can deal any table. That's what they expected of you. And I ended up in Bobby's room every fucking day, and I'm just all of a sudden these guys who I've been following like their whole career, like now all of a sudden I'm dealing to them. Like
That first time's very weird. You're like starstruck almost.
when I had Ivy next to me, and like Ivy like couldn't win a hand, and then I was doing a hand. It was deuce to 7 triple draw.
Yeah.
And you know how when you have to do the reshuffle if you run out of cards, the Bellagio was having us do a full shuffle, box shuffle, like as if it's just a normal hand you're about to start.
Yeah.
And before Phil and his opponent even had the final betting round, Phil thought I wasn't supposed to do that. So like he thought the process was like wrong. Then Phil loses this hand, and then he's like continuing to make comments about it, like he's not speaking directly to me. He's talking to the player about how I wasn't supposed to do that. So he's like low-key blaming me for this, which I thought this is kind of hilarious that like Phil Ivey is like putting a lot of attention on me right now, and he's very pissed off. And
You grew up watching him, like idolizing
yeah,
this.
you're right. This is a guy I grew up watching and think he's the most badass player in the world like everybody else. And then when I'm pushing out, it's right around New Year's. I was like, all right, thanks, guys. Happy New Year. And then he's like, Happy New Year to you too, buddy. I was like, was he serious or was he just being sarcastic? I was like, I wasn't even sure. I was like, maybe that's what makes him Phil Ivey.
I've dealt to him a bunch of times now. I remember the first time I dealt to him, I was like, oh, there's Phil Ivey. And I thought he would be talkative and like, he just sat there with his mouth open and never spoke a word. And I don't think he even played a hand the first half hour I ever dealt to him. Just, he had that blank stare with his mouth open that he does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're all familiar.
Yeah. And there was no variance, no change. That was all I did the whole month. And then one time I dealt to Daniel Negreanu. Have you ever dealt to him or played with him?
Yes, I haven't played with him, but I did deal a tournament to him once. I dealt to him when Norm Macdonald was also in the table, and I didn't realize it was him for a while because he just kept his head kind of low. He had a baseball hat covering his eyes, but then he had a speak. Like and Norm Macdonald has that very distinct voice, and I was like, I know your voice. He's like, he just like, I think he just wanted to be left alone, so I just let him be.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about Negreanu?
I was just very personable. Like he actually was like, I was like, oh, there's Daniel Negreanu. I was all excited, and it actually was like a good experience. Like he talked a lot to me. I talked back in between hands and stuff, and he even had me in part of his one of his vlogs. So I was like, hey, can I be in your vlog? That type of thing. He like showed. And I remember watching it. I was like, how cool. So those high stakes players like that were popular to our generation growing up are very social and like cool with everybody at the table. Like Daniel is like pretty well known for that, right? He goes to the rail on his breaks sometimes, and between hands he'll go talk to people that are watching him. Yeah,
no, that was certainly the picture he was painting all the years in the early 2000s. When he was like young.
To me, it's still the same from what I've seen of him. I don't know if you've seen anything different.
No, I mean I haven't been paying attention to him, but yeah, as far as I know, he's still trying to maintain his reputation.
There's Phil Hellmuth, the poker brat. He actually, I was surprised that he doesn't, like on TV, that's who he is in person, I think. Like anytime I've dealt to him, there's no cameras around, he's the exact same.
Yeah, one of the last bracelets he won, I was actually dealing his final table at the World Series, and it was streamed on Twitch, and I don't even know how I ended up on this final table, but I did. And
it was that World Series of Poker, right?
Yeah.
You could just walk up to the table and tap, and they'll probably just honestly, there's no...
No, I know. It was a 5K turbo tournament, and he was good to deal to as far as like keeping up with things and just helping the tournament run. So he was like, he would throw his chips into you. So like little things that I try to do to just make the dealer's job a little less difficult. But like anytime he like looked at you, he like looked at me with like these like you commoner eyes. It's just like all these guys.
What do you mean, like looking down on you or something?
Yeah. So many of these guys have such a sense of entitlement because they're celebrities.
There's something about like they look down on dealers, which I've never understood. Like for some reason, there's just like it's almost like you're a server, like in a restaurant.
Well, yeah, that's the only reason they're dealing with you is because you're like part of what they need to do. It's
that's
not
really,
because they want to. Yeah. Don't get it twisted into thinking that like you and I have some kind of personal relationship because we don't. You're a scum to me. Like I know it's your turn. So as a poker dealer, I mean, I didn't talk too much. As I got more into experience, I found little ways to interject conversations with other players, like maybe just a little joke here and there, not like a whole conversation, but like, what do you think watching day in and day out, get to be a fly on the wall, watching some of these poker players try and interact with each other and interact with women? Because poker players are not known, for being pickup artists.
No. And they have the cheat code, though. They have all the money, all the expendable money in the world.
Yeah. That get them to a head start, but yet they're still here. They're still grinding. So
all throughout the day, 12 hours a day, every single day, just at their table, not using their advantage, yeah.
You ever see players like try to mac it to somebody and it's just not going well at all?
Oh, it's just awful. Yeah, I've seen like girlfriends come up to the table and like the guys will just continue playing. They just completely ignore them. A lot of the poker players, I don't think realize how far they would get if they just put more effort in. Like I hear a lot of girls talk about like, oh, I went on a date with a poker guy, it went horrible, and they'll tell me all these reasons why. And a lot of times it's because they just don't put effort in. Like they won't name the place to go to, they won't set a time.
If you open a car door for a girl, like that is the fastest cheat code in the world. I don't know why it is, but when I open a car door for a girl, I get a smile from them that I don't get before or after that for the rest of the night. I don't care what happens after. It just. There is something about opening a car door for a woman that
or the door in the restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, anything that has to do with them not having to. I don't know. They got this fixation where they don't want to like grab something and then pull on it. So I don't know. Whatever that's about. But I'll just say that it's interesting how like the dynamics of like social interaction, it can just scare a poker player to death. Yet he has no problem like check raise bluffing all in on the river
for 5K.
I know. I mean, he has no problem doing that.
That's not scary.
But like
all.
going up to a girl and like saying hi and talking to her, he can't fucking do it.
Yeah, he'll just walk past her. Oh shit.
Not that I haven't done that more than just a few thousand times, but I
as a guy, you have to get used to rejection.
I mean, right, and that's another thing. I mean, when you're playing poker, you get rejection all the time. You have to throw your hand away all the time. You have to deal with adversity and failure all the time. So what is so difficult about that when it comes to dealing with women? Because it's like, yeah, you'll probably have more failure with women than you do with poker, but even so, you should still be used to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're one of those awkward poker players, and I don't mean to get like too personal at you, but you guys know who you are, all right? If you're one of those guys who can't seem to get anything going with a woman, all right? When you set a date, if you offer her a ride, if she says yes, be waiting outside for her, be by the door, and just open the fucking door for her and act like this is normal. Don't give her some stupid look like, look, I'm opening the door. Like, no, just do it like this is normal. You're already halfway home if you do that.
And don't wear gym shorts. For the love of God, dress. Don't wear a hoodie and gym shorts. Change.
Well, one of my friends, I have a friend who used to be really immersed in picking up women. He taught me a pretty good trick. He would open the door for the girl and she loves it, and then he would push her in the car.
Oh, what?
So it's like, yeah, don't get it twisted, sweetie. I ain't that much of a gentleman, but like, not like check her, not like a hockey game, but like
that's what I thought.
Give her like a little like just enough force for her to notice. Yeah. I thought that was pretty clever.
Okay.
Yeah, I've tried it. I mean, I don't talk to many of them anymore, but it worked at the time I did it. It was doing well.
It's practice. Practice makes perfect. Even with, like poker players will study hours and hours on end, but they won't put any effort or practice into talking or picking up women,
Yeah. It's a sad imbalance. I mean, you're looking at the imbalances of other players and weaknesses you can exploit. I mean, what about your own fucking imbalances? I mean, it's I'm pretty hit or miss, I guess, when I come up and talk to women. I guess it's just like with the people I'm playing with, they either like it at first or they're just like, no, fuck this. I want nothing to do with this.
Like in your free time, if you're like working on talking and picking up women and like making yourself feel better, I think it helps your poker game during the day,
Jesus, in my mid-20s, that was like the only thing I used to do. I mean, it was like I would wake up and just start hunting and just chasing down women. I didn't even necessarily care if I was going to fuck. I mean, I thought I wanted to fuck him. And then there were times where like I see now I'm going to, and now I don't even care and I don't even want to anymore. I'm just glad that they wanted to. Like that's the little game I was playing with myself, which became more important than playing poker. It's like I'll play when I'm done doing this. So yeah, you know what? Maybe that did help me play a lot, and I just didn't realize it. So thank you for pointing that out to me.
There you go. I had that same mentality when I was in my early 20s. I don't now. Like, I have a girlfriend now. She's absolutely wonderful. So this is long ago. But I used to be that same mentality. Like, go to a bar and just try to see if I can get some girl's number. Not because I wanted to actually talk to her, date, or like nothing. Like, just can I bring up a conversation to a pretty girl, and can I get her to give me her number just to see if she, liked what I was saying or doing enough to do that for me, And that's like a little practice.
Just to see if you can get her interested.
Just to see if she'll respond.
Right.
And get nothing out of it. Like, don't have no intentions. Like, just to see, like, if you can go that far.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really trying to, like, make a conquest out of anybody. I think it's just, I had no fucking game when I came over here. And I think once I finally started to get just a little better at it, then then I just all I did was roll around in it.
But was your confidence higher? Do you think it affected your game?
I mean, it couldn't have had an adverse effect on. I mean, I could see how it could help you. You think, oh yeah, I can get girls, so I can outplay this fucking guy. I mean, yeah. I don't think it was going on in a conscious way. It may have been percolating somewhere down, somewhere down below. It was gaining ground with women and gaining ground at poker. I thought I brought you on here to talk about dealing poker. How did we get on this?
We did. We got to Mexico. We talked about porn.
Well, that's what happens when you converse. It just goes anywhere. So
what was in that shot you gave me before we started this?
Oh yeah, so something else I've been wondering. I know that a lot of dealers who play poker probably think very well of themselves because they get to spend all the time in the world with these players, and they think that they are learning their tells and feel that if they could ever play with them, that they would crush them. Do you think they're overstating that just a bit? Because you still got to be a pretty good poker player and a lot of other things. But like, what do you have to say about dealers picking up on tells from the players they're dealing to?
I think a lot of dealers do think they are better than they are. I'll agree with that. They're overconfident a little bit.
They're so fucking good. Why are you dealing, right?
That's exactly what. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Though you can't be a dealer and be a professional player as well. But I mean, I've been doing this now for 7 years, dealing consistently. This is my full-time job. 40 hours a week, I'm always around this stuff. You do after some time, you can just like feel when things are off or feel when things are different at a table sometimes. And I remember one time I was dealing. I'm not going to name any names or anything, but I was at a very big final table tournament, and this guy went all in, and he's bluffing, and he shoves, and the other guy, I think he had like second bottom pair and like not a good kick. It was like not a good hand, but he froze and he was thinking forever, and I was so nervous. I'm looking around at like there's cameras on me and stuff, and I remember coming to and just looking over at the guy, and I could just feel that like something was off. It was the first time I'd hold down that I felt weird. And I was like, this guy's lying. He's bluffing. And like, that was something that I picked on. And then I was starting, you see me too, like on the stream, I kind of lean up and I start really paying attention, like looking around. And in my head, I'm like, I would call. I'm like, call. I'm like, if I was in that spot, I'm calling for sure. And I'd win the whole tournament, So there are moments like that. And I think you only get that from experience, like a regular first time dealer wouldn't be able to pick up on stuff like that. But if you're experienced, you can feel it when things are off at the table sometimes. And surely you've had that before where you can pick up on tells or like feelings when someone's bluffing or someone has it.
I think maybe the one thing the dealers are forgetting is it's a lot easier to make a read on somebody and know what to do. And this goes for players who are just watching the hand also. It's a lot easier to call with someone else's money. Okay?
Absolutely.
It's a lot easier to make these reads when you stand to lose nothing and there's nothing clouding your judgment. There's nothing that you want out of this. When you have that clear of a mind going into the situation, you're more likely to pick up on it.
That's like watching the football game. I can make that pass.
Yeah, right. I mean, but when you're the one playing, it's not as fucking easy. So to all the dealers... okay, to all the dealers who think they're hot shit because they knew some guy was bluffing in a hand they dealt.
Wait, this
and now you think you're this freaking unstoppable, invincible fucking player. Or like, why don't you get out of the box, get on the side of the table, and go out and fucking prove it?
You want to stake me? Is that what this is?
Yeah, see, this is all. Now we're getting to why I really brought you in here. Because you, particularly, Bruce, I've heard the things you've said, and now I'm here to confront you about. Yeah, you want to play? You want to play when we're done with this? Yeah, then we'll see. Then you can see.
Heads up for rolls after this.
Yeah, we'll see if you can spot my tells then.
I'll be able to feel when you're bluffing. Don't you worry.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bruce Bishop, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to the Dealer's edition of the Dead Money Podcast.
Appreciate having me on, Dan.
And I'll have some hand histories for you coming up later this week. And we'll talk to you soon, guys. We'll see you next time. Thank you.